What drives you? What fuels your goals? Our next speaker believes the secret to empowered success lies in understanding your own motivation and how it shapes the way you show up in your work, your relationships, and your dreams. Linda Love Lemos, MPS, is an author, speaker, and podcaster who blends academic depth with heart-led wisdom. She's a firm believer that love is the foundation for all thriving relationships, including the one you have with your career. In today's message, Linda invites us to reflect inward, reconnect with our purpose, and realize that how we motivate ourselves directly impacts how we engage with others and reach our goals. She's here to show us how clarity, compassion, and authenticity aren't just soft skills, they're power moves that elevate achievement. So get ready to tune into your internal drive and unlock the truth that empowered women empower their goals. Please welcome the inspiring voice of Linda Love Lemos.
Wonderful. I'm so ecstatic to be part of Empower Her. And what could I bring to the table? And I thought about this actually this morning while I was trying to bike at the gym and trying to keep a balance of being a podcaster and being a speaker and book author and actually current student as well. And it's definitely a balance. And it's not an equal balance, but you do what you have to do and you get things done. But speaking on that, how can I empower her? And it's so interesting. It's whatever career you choose, I truly do believe it is more difficult for women to aspire. It's more difficult for women to have a career that they're proud of sometimes. We have many obstacles with regards to being a woman and having a career. One of the obstacles sometimes is societal. The second obstacle sometimes is gender norms or cultural norms that we are presented to and presented by. And third sometimes is the opposition. Now, regardless of who you are in this world, whether you are male or female, you will always have opposition. The opposition can appear from anywhere and can appear within your own coworkers, your colleagues, sometimes your bosses. And navigating through opposition is actually what makes you greater. We will all face adversity, but it is how we educate ourselves on how to face this adversity throughout our careers. Opposition sometimes is a coworker, spreading false rumors about you in order to harm your reputation at work. Opposition can be when your supervisor doesn't want to allow you to apply for a higher position within the company, or to seek a reference. That is also opposition. It is important, though, that regardless of what opposition you choose, that you don't choose the opposition that you obtain, keep in mind that your navigation through this process is your survival, believe it or not. So how do you navigate? Well, first, I learned how to deal with difficult individuals and difficult people. And there is a book on that with regards how to deal with difficult coworkers or difficult people. And once you learn to take away the self-doubt and the self-blame and really realize that it is the other individual, it's not you. Some people do have mental health diseases, some people do have substance abuse, and we all go to work and we go to work with individuals who are flawed, and we are all flawed in different ways. However, it's really interesting because the greater the opposition that I felt and have gone through, it made me a better person. But also, how do I empower her? Right? How do I empower you? That's a great question. And I will let you know that you have to have a career plan. Not anybody else, but you have to have a career plan. Every 5 years, ask yourself, am I happy with what I'm doing? Do I feel fulfilled? And does it pay my bills? Believe it or not, yes, money does matter. The longer, many times that you stay at a job, the less you're being paid because many times your raise does not reflect the current standard and cost of living. So I think that's number one. Two, how do I empower her? So that's a great question again. So how do I answer that? Learning, learn from other people. And I think when you learn, you also learn to admire, have admiration for other individuals and tell yourself, well, what I like about them, how can I have that for myself, right? What can I learn from them? How can I emulate and then become truly who I want to be and become myself and add that to my professional skills or to my speaking skills? What I think the greatest thing that you can have is actually admiration. I think so many people get lost in this world with being jealous and envious. Jealousy and envious brings the attention to the other person, when in reality, your attention always needs to be on yourself, on how you take care of yourself, on your health, and on your own personal goals and your personal triumphs. So I think that's really imperative. I have a lot of people that I admire and that I'm learning from, but I realize that they will do things the way they do, and I am here to learn. And hopefully, what I learn from them, like other speakers, other book authors, will make me a better speaker and a better book author. So I think that's very imperative. We live in such a world that's highly competitive. And that the competition, there are extremely competitive individuals that will backstab or will create chaos or will manipulate and all these negative things, especially at work, when in reality, there's no need for that. When you operate on a higher level and a higher frequency, you truly understand that the only competition you have is yourself and that you are part of the University of Life. And with the University of Life, you are here to progress, you are here to learn, and you are here to share and to give to others, which I think in a lot of career stories and empowerment, we forget about others, right? We forget to ask someone to the table to join us for lunch. We forget to buy someone else a coffee. We forget to perhaps even go through our closet and see what doesn't fit us or doesn't work with us anymore, doesn't fit us anymore, and to be able to donate to those who are in need of clothing. I think that's imperative. That's holistic and a full circle. It's not so much about how much money you make. Sadly, I've had to work with a lot of CEOs and CFOs and Fortune 500 leaders, and sadly, they are sad. They have sad lives. They're Some of them are so focused on just the money portion of their career that that's all they see. They don't have friends. They don't have a significant other that cares about them. They know nothing about charity. They believe that charity is not necessary, and they look down upon people who are in need of charity. Um, and that's why they sometimes are many times empty. And as Linda Love, and as as a speaker, I encourage people to not just strive for their goals, but also to strive to do good things for their community, their local neighborhood, and to participate in the politics of their neighborhood if they can, to encourage their voice and to give back. And also to be able to, if you've attended college, if you learned a trade, to be able to use the college or what you learned in trade for the benefit of others, individuals as well. And don't ever expect that the person you served will return the favor or will return the good. Expect that the universe and the powers that be, and as I like to call them, will give that back to you. So never think that one good act is actually a bad act, or that your good act is not seen by the universe. What else? To empower her. Um, Many times in your career, I'll tell a story real quick. For a long time, I was administrative assistant, and I did that for about 7, maybe 10 years. And I always wanted to be an executive assistant. And I applied to many, many jobs, and they would say, no, you don't have the experience. Um, your college experience should just say on campus. No one cares if you went to college online. I would have these horrible negative feedbacks. But at the end of the day, even though it hurt to hear those types of things, didn't know what I knew. And what I knew was that I had to move up. I had to seek a higher title and a higher pay rate because I had to pay my own bills. I had no one else to pay my bills. And it's so interesting that all this negative feedback that I received. However, 2 years passed by and I became an executive assistant for a retail manufacturer, for a retail company, for their home office. And my dream of becoming an executive assistant came true. And I loved it. I loved it for the salary. It was a wonderful salary, twice of the amount I was being paid as an admin, and being able to pay your rent and pay your necessities without having to worry was such a relief. So I think it's also about having in your mind what you're going to do and manifesting it as well. And figuring out, okay, what door do I need to knock and what door has to open in order for me to succeed? Again, I did not give up. I was resilient, even with all the negative feedback of HR, human resources people, and recruiters tell me I can never become an executive assistant. When in reality, I was an executive assistant and I also became an office administrator. That time passed by, and then I decided to attend grad school, which has been a wonderful opportunity for me. But also, it was not easy because I couldn't always count on my family. I also had negative feedback from my family. They didn't understand exactly what I was doing. And a lot of us will have dreams that our family members or our friends do not understand. And I will tell you, do it anyway. It doesn't matter. Many times when you have very bold, very large dreams, you are the trailblazer in your family. Don't worry, in a few years, they will call you and ask you how you did it. So many times, our dreams that we have in our heart and we have in our minds is absolutely personal. With regards to support, I would tell you that to continue on to your journey, and while you're continuing on to your next goal, your next pay rate, your next title in your life with regards to your career, you will have to let go of some friends that don't believe in your success, and you will have to make new friends. And those friends that you will come across, you'll see that it's almost a bit of a relief because many times they're doing the same things that you're doing. They can understand you fully. They can even give you advice because they already are where you want to be. And I think that's so imperative, especially when you're an adult. I feel that many times when you're in high school or your college, undergraduate, you have a lot of friends because of the proximity, because you're always in class together, or you're in a club, or you're in a sport. And so those folks become your friends. And as you become an adult, friendship becomes a little bit different. But I feel that always have individuals that push you to be greater, that encourage you, and that do not compete with you. I think that's number one. As adults, we are all just, trying to work and provide for ourselves and our family members. There is a great deal of resilience that is needed in our careers And resilience doesn't mean that you're not going to go through anything. You have to. You have to go through stuff. You have to go through, unemployment or losing a loved one or having a boss that's a bully, sadly. I wish most of us didn't have those type of events or misfortunes. And you will have to go through sometimes sickness or a medical diagnosis. And even though those things are meant to create a stall or create some type of, I guess, like a wall with regards to our dreams, that does not mean that you should stop. Those are just obstacles in our way, but what makes us stronger is how resilient we are. It's how fast we can bounce back, even from a disappointment or a disease, or many times when you're rejected. And rejection is one of the hardest things, many times, to endure, but also to learn from. We all face rejections, and many times we face rejections from work, from a school application, but also know just because someone or an institution said no to you doesn't mean that you should stop, and it doesn't mean that you're on the right path. It means that you need to continue and continue until you have exhausted all your efforts. So I truly do believe these are some great words of wisdom in order to empower her. That concludes how to empower her. And I think that's really what it is. It's to be resilient and to go through stuff and to learn from everything that we go through and to keep our goals in mind and to learn how to achieve those goals.
Hello and good vibes. Welcome back to the Good Morning Minute podcast. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, and I want to say, wow, what a word from today's featured speaker, Linda Love Lemos, on self-motivation and momentum. Let's take a moment to reflect on her presentation. Linda reminded us that momentum doesn't require permission, it requires intention. That we are responsible for lighting our own fire, speaking over ourselves, and letting go of the weight of who we used to be. In her powerful message, Linda Love Lemos takes us on a journey of intentional transformation, reminding us that momentum begins with mindset. She boldly encourages us to speak life over ourselves and to become our own biggest cheerleader. Her central message: you don't need permission to be great. You are the spark you're waiting for. She shares that self-motivation isn't a one-time feeling, it's a decision made daily. It starts with the words you speak over yourself, the energy you allow into your space, and the courage to keep moving even when things feel stagnant. So she challenges us to replace self-doubt with affirmations. Identify what's stealing your momentum, whether it's toxic relationships, procrastination, or fear, and to choose progress over perfection every single time. One of her quotes that hit me hard was this: you can't move forward if you're still carrying the weight of who you used to be. Let that settle in a little bit. Sometimes the very thing holding you back isn't outside of you. It's the stories you keep telling yourself, the fear you continue to feed, or the comfort zones you refuse to leave. So here's your challenge, friend. I challenge you to take 5 minutes and write down one thing you need to let go of, and one word you'll speak over yourself this week. I challenge you to say it loud, say it until you believe it, because momentum begins with belief. And if you haven't already, make sure to catch the full Empower Her Steps conference replay, now streaming on YouTube. And you can watch Linda's full presentation here. Until next time, I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.